Today's lesson will be on bar modeling. We will be doing part-whole bar models with up to 3-digit numbers. Remember, when drawing a part-whole bar model, the bars are the same length and touch. The top bar will represent the whole, and the bottom bar will represent the parts. There may be more than 2, sometimes there could be 3 or more. Sometimes you will know both parts and need to find the whole. For example, Mrs. Patterson made pizzas for lunch. She made 3 pepperoni and 4 cheese pizzas. How many pizzas did she make in all? Remember, the top bar represents the whole. And in this problem, I don't know how many pizzas she made in all. That's what the problem is asking me. The bottom bar, which is the same length, is going to represent the parts. Since there were 4 cheese pizzas, I'm going to make that a little larger than the 3 pepperoni pizzas. And to find out how many pizzas Mrs. Patterson made in all, I would simply add. She made 7 pizzas in all. Other times you will know the whole and need to determine a missing part. Joe had 9 baseball cards. 7 of them were pitchers, and the rest were catchers. How many of Joe's cards were catchers? Same thing, only this time we know the whole. We know Joe had 9 baseball cards. We know some of them were pitchers, and some of them were catchers. They told us in the story that 7 were pitchers. What we don't know is how many catchers there were. In this problem, to find the missing part, I will use the operation of subtraction. 9 minus 7 is 2. 2 of Joe's cards were catchers. Now I have one for you to try, so you'll be pausing this video. 293 fans watched the ball game. 142 of them cheered for the home team. How many fans cheered for the visitors? Pause the video and solve the problem on your scratch paper. Okay, now, let's see how you did. We know that there were 293 fans watching the ball game, so that's the whole number of fans. So we know the whole. The whole is 293. We know part of them were cheering for the home team. That part was 142. The other fans were cheering for the visitors. I don't know how many fans there were cheering for visitors, so that will get my question mark. Now remember, we're looking for a missing part. And the operation we use when looking for a missing part is subtraction. So we take the whole and subtract the part we know, which are the home team fans, and the rest of those must be the visitors. I have the larger number on top in the ones place, so 3 minus 2 is 1. 9 minus 4 is 5. And 2 minus 1 is 1. There were 151 fans cheering for the visitors. Let's go on. Here we go. There were 142 boys and 208 girls at Wayside School. How many students were there all together? Now, keep in mind, you have to figure out if you know the whole or you know the parts. Pause the video and solve this on your scratch paper. Show your bar model and your work for solving the problem. Okay, so there were 142 boys and 208 girls, and what they're asking me is to find how many students there were altogether. That word altogether is a key to knowing what I don't know, which is the whole. I want to know how many there were altogether. So my unknown is my whole. I know that there were some boys. and I know that there were some girls. Put your 142 in your smaller block because it's less than 208. Now I want to figure out how many students altogether there were at Wayside School. I'm looking for my whole. To solve this problem, did you set up an addition problem? 208 plus 142. Or maybe you turned those numbers around and wrote them the other way. Doesn't matter because it's addition. Starting in my ones place, 8 plus 2 is 10. 1 and 4 are 5. And 2 and 1 are 3. So there were 350 students in all. We've got one more problem to try now. The ice cream truck sold 294 cones. 132 of them were vanilla. The rest were chocolate. How many chocolate cones were sold? Once again, when you plan your problem, ask yourself, do you know the whole? Do you know the parts? Pause the video and solve the problem. I bet you figured out that you knew the whole. The whole was the number of cones, which was 294. The types of cones were vanilla and chocolate. 132 of the cones were vanilla. The rest must have been chocolate. To figure out the missing part, the operation is subtraction. 294 minus 132, and this time, since it's subtraction, we need to make sure that our larger number is on top. Look in my ones place. I don't need to regroup. 4 minus 2 is 2. In my tens place, 9 is larger than 3, and 9 minus 3 is 6. And in my hundreds, 2 minus 1 is 1. There were 162 chocolate cones sold. Now you will be solving some other problems on your own.